All right, I am happy to be joined with Chris Carl once again from DigiCrypts Blockchain Solutions. He's the CEO. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
Excellent. Busy couple of weeks, obviously, since the last time we had a conversation with you. But wow, DigiCrypts is definitely grabbing a lot of investors' interest. Daily volume's been well north of 2 million every single day. So how have you felt, I guess, over the last couple of weeks with the reaction from the investor community?
I think it's very positive. We are working really hard as a team to grow a great base of operations as a company, and I think that started to reflect in the market interest that we have.
Yeah.
The trick is always to keep the two things in balance, but we are really starting to make some great strides toward, a real fast ramp up of revenue over the next few months, and I think that's being reflected in the volume.
Well, some of the acquisitions, and let's talk about the announcement you made earlier this week with Darwin Ecosystem. So Darwin develops an artificial intelligence applications in several sectors. So what stood out to you about these assets, and what will this be able to do with the company itself, and what's this mean for obviously your investors?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of great things about the whole Darwin asset acquisition. They've been in business a few years. We're really tech heavy and concentrating on developing great products. Unfortunately, what they didn't do really was concentrate so much on getting those products to market. But that created the opportunity for us because they borrowed some money to do it. For the assets that we're acquiring, they've spent well over $2 million US to acquire them. We did our deal when our stock was trading at 5 cents. We're effectively paying $250,000 Canadian for those assets.
Right.
And the beauty of it, and the beauty of everything that Darwin is about, is they've taken a very professional approach. They've done a great job, and everything that they were working on is parallel to what we were working on.
Okay.
And so everything that we are buying is immediately accretive to both increase revenue as well as accelerated revenue, meaning we're going to get there faster by having those assets under our wing. And so the big number one is our venture capital app, where we can help traders, both issuers and investors, figure out where they want to invest and what trends are happening in the industry.
Yeah.
And they were already well developed there. So were we, through Data Navi.
Yeah.
The two things mesh together beautifully. We get a new source of revenue, immediate, because the seller of the assets is a mid-sized lender across North America. They lend to small and medium-sized businesses. And what that whole app that they had developed does is it allows businesses to go online and apply. And instead of just getting kind of a credit report type of thing, it uses, again, AI and big data to build a whole profile for the lender, like literally immediately, so they can make an immediate decision, or if they want to go that route, an automated decision as to how much they will lend to the company. Mm-hmm. And the whole transaction can get done inside of a day. And they will be our first paying subscriber. And we expect to have that operational. We said in the first quarter of 2021, I think it's going to be the early part of that quarter, not the end of the quarter. So again, immediately accretive, and the revenue that we'll generate will exceed the purchase price of the company. But that asset then can be used and scaled up across the world to all kinds of lenders. And we think and already know of several new sort of subscribers that we'll have for that service. So those are the two end things, but the real big one is in the middle. It's crypto trading, cryptocurrency. Yep. And this is where our acquisition of Darwin can accelerate everything we're doing to offer traders better information and more immediate information on how and when to trade crypto, both going long, going short, where the trends are, from drawing from all this information. And that's the app that we're launching in December. And I think that Darwin helps this, and that's what we're most excited about for sure.
So paint the picture for me, like, the industry itself. Is this a game changer? Obviously we're seeing technology advance at a rapid pace, but if I'm not using it, will I be left behind if I'm a trader?
Well, I think in due time you will. AI in general, for corporate purposes, has been under development by very large companies. So you're talking companies usually, with revenues of more than $1 billion, and they have a whole department that generates this inside. And so the gap between their knowledge and smaller companies that can't afford it is getting wider and wider, right?
Right.
But what we do is to small and medium businesses, we bring a level of that technology to them at a very low subscription price. And so without the major capital investment, they can play catch up. Are they going to be just as strong as IBM or Apple, who's using AI? No, not out of the gate, but they're going to go, start lowering that gap again. So will they be left behind if they don't do it at all? Presumably, yes. I mean, there's always going to be people out there who are great mind readers and trend readers, but this brings factual-based evidence to a trader, to an investor, to figure out, what's really going on in the market, and they can make educated decisions and confident decisions that what they're doing is right.
So you've touched on it a little bit. So if I'm a trader and I'm using this software, or this AI, excuse me, I should say, what does my user experience look like? Can you talk a little bit more in depth if I'm sitting at work trying to obviously execute on a day in to day out basis?
Yeah, let's talk about it relative to our crypto trading app that is coming out basically December 1.
Okay.
And what that does for you is it does one of two things. It either is going to help you decide when to trade, or it's going to corroborate a decision that you already kind of have in your mind, and it's going to give you sort of backup to the decision. Or if it contravenes what you think you're going to do, you might hold off on that trade and figure that out. But as far as somebody sitting at their desk, the first thing they're going to have to decide, let's say you're the user, the first thing you are going to have to decide is, on what sort of time scale am I interested in trading? Do I want to trade intraday? Do I want to do 3 or 4 or 5 trades a day? Or do I want to sort of be watching the trends and be ready to make a move over 3 or 5 days, a swing trade type of thing? Or am I really interested in longer term, but not getting caught? I mean, let's be honest. I'm a big believer in crypto. I'm a believer in anything that provides an alternate store of value to fiat currency. So gold is in there as well. But nothing goes in a straight line. And the one thing we do know about cryptocurrencies is that their moves are large, but they're large in both directions. And so everybody feels good when they just had a 40% rise in their long hold of a cryptocurrency, but they don't feel so great when they lose 75% of that gain in 4 days. And if you can help them even just exit. And so this, even a longer term trader needs to be aware that unless you're really in it and you're just going to hold it for 5 years, which is not necessarily a bad strategy.
Right.
But if you really want to kind of capture and pocket as much of those gains as you can, and then reload, this is the kind of software that's going to help you figure that out. Is it going to be 100%? No, because trades are and turning points in anything happen for many, many reasons. But the beauty is this AI is drawing from all of this big data, all these massive amounts of data that are out there to help pinpoint when that's going to happen. And that's going to make you more accurate, and it's going to help you make the trade at a better time, not too early, not too late, and hopefully is going to increase your returns. And when I say hopefully, this has been under development and testing for a year. And the result was the returns for this past year, and as we always say, the past is no indication or no guarantee of the future, but over the last 12 months, there was a 60% greater rate of return by using this app than by just simply, following the currency itself.
What's the feedback been with some of the traders that you've, have spoken with and show the actual software? What's there been feedback in view of like how to use it on a day in, day out basis?
I think, well, first of all, it's been very, very positive. There are more and more retail investors starting to come into this. It's getting easier to do. I mean, one of the reasons that I think there's a lot more awareness and acceptance of the cryptocurrencies is that PayPal, of course, has allowed it to be transacted through PayPal. And that's a big sort of step forward in terms of normalizing this as an investment, which has up until now, I think, been considered a fringe investment. Now you've got a whole bunch more people, retail investors mostly, but institutions as well. We're seeing some really, really large funds going into crypto trading for the very first time. And so they're not used to it. They don't know the history as well as somebody who bought, Bitcoin back at $12 and has watched every little movement since. I mean, they're going to have a pretty good mind on this thing. If you're new to it, how do you get an advantage? How do you sort of stay competitive in the trading? You come to somebody like us. And we've been talking to crypto exchanges as well as crypto funds, and they both love what we're offering here. And we're looking at a lot of partnership agreements that we can do with these, both the funds and the exchanges, to help their investors, get a better rate of return and to help ensure that the returns are positive.